Hey, what's happening, everybody? Sorry I didn't get to this sooner, but we were having some issues. I had a problem with the my sunglasses or the glasses camera I've been using. So we're going to try taking this with the phone. I just wanted to give you guys a little shot of what we got to work with down here in West Virginia in our new place, and yeah, just show you what we're going to work with here. And come up here and basically all that back there from down over here, I'll show you from down this way up and around, and that whole mountain behind all these houses down the road here, all up in here down to the next road is ours. So I'll show you a little bit more, but down by the house what we're working with there is, we'll go up in the corner here and show you a little bit more of it. You know, somewhere around this cut line there, right there is basically kind of around that is where our line is, and then from this point on over on this side of the house, and then this would be, boy, the sun glare on this camera lens, the screen. This would be the, you know, basically the whole backyard from the back of the house and what we got to work with. And then basically this parcel breaks right around this line here, and then the second parcel will be all back in here. Right, so yeah, this will be the backyard. I'm not quite sure if we're going to do any gardening back here. I might do some towards the back up on this hill, and some up around here, we'll see. But I need to use the machines up around here. Eventually we'll be in and out with the four-wheelers or side-by-side or something. And you'll see why in a moment. But we come along back in here. This is the side. This is the big side. And if you can see, you see that little square trash can type thing down by the telephone pole? Well, that would be where the property line right after, just about, you know, about 4 foot, maybe 6 foot towards this side here, is from there on ours. All right, and the only shade this really sees in the morning, some of this, the upper part of the house here will cover up to about there where that bush or tree thing is here, which I have no idea what that is yet. We'll have to see whether it stays or not, but it only does that for a few hours, and then the majority of the sun. So, but the rest of this, so it'll probably go down to like the front part of the house, the front wall here, and all the way back, and you know, some clearing from the way from the house, yeah, but then start and go all the way over this way. Right, and while I'm over here, we'll show you the front yard. And I'm gonna go walk back into the playground out back we have. I'll show you our holler and what that all entails. So that would be what we're dealing with in the front, right? And the space we got, and there's some water runoff that comes off the road. I haven't seen any real serious rain yet, so I don't know how the water acts around here as far as the, like, you know, where if it puddles up in the lawn here or anything like that in some of these low spots. I think it just runs off pretty well, but we're going to find out in the long run, and then maybe might reshape this soil a little bit, because I have all that runoff. See the runoff, like see where the rocks are up in the hill? You've seen that? It's like a wall of stone up there. Right below that, some of that runoff, that hill, just behind that shed there. Some of that's still, you know, maneuverable kind of thing. I mean, I have to use machines and all, but if I wanted to grab some of that and try to level this out, I might do that. But basically, when you see where this red maple is there, that's about where the line ends, right? Maybe this tree line here, but I see a brick stone in the ground down here, so I believe that is for, you know, property lines and stuff like so. So I give you an idea, show you what I'm talking about. I'm not quite sure where it goes. She doesn't have a bunch pieces there. It's pretty much this fencing here and that fencing there are the end of our line. And I think this post, you can see that there. I think that's the line, but it's somewhere around there. It doesn't really matter. I'm not getting too crazy about that, as long as we're not running over each other. But basically, I'm looking at all this. I'm basically that cut line over to work with for the garden for now. So we'll see what happens. Most of it's going to wind up being over in this area, and then this back side I'll leave for cruising back and forth, and you'll see why. Because this here is still our property, right? As soon as that hill, we can come up along here, try to keep the neighbor's stuff out of there. Get the doggy over there. Let me show you what I'm. Oh yeah, look at these spun holes, huh? They're everywhere. You gotta be careful. See, boom, boom, boom. Right. If we come up around here, basically at this tree line here there's like a tree line here, right? So at that point on, over this way up to this corner, you'll see the walkway. And there's ours. There's one of the trails that goes up into the mountain that we own back there. There's a pond up top. There's a total of 46.5 acres on this parcel back here. Right. And then the house sits on about 0.6 or so acres. So basically, from this point on here, up and over is us. And the neighbor helped me clear this the other day. We came up here with a weed whacker, and then he came along and helped me chop it all down, some mow it down, so we could keep the be able to walk up in here and not have it all kinds of critters getting all over us and stuff. But this here is our holler on playground. There's a little bit of a stream that runs down on his side of it. Basically, there's some purple marks on the trees here. You'll see that one's got a purple mark right there, and you'll see another one right about there. That's where the line meets my neighbor Jeremiah's on this side. So what we'll wind up doing is just basically from this floor on, it's our playground to use. Right, we got a stream over here. Everything's dry right now, so we're not seeing nothing. There's been a drought around here, so there's some wood that was left over from the past owners. And a little pavilion up here, this part of ours. This table was left here for us. You can see a target up there we were shooting at the other day. A cardboard target we were using to try to dial in our guns. Cool little old pavilion, huh? And pretty much looks like majority of it they harvested it out of the woods, if not all of it. They might have milled it with a home mill or something, I'm not sure. But you can see most of it's just regular old wood, right? Trees. There's a firebox under here. Basically, it's like a little grill like you might see in a park somewhere. It's just a miniaturized one, like personal, good sized personal one. You can get a nice little fire control fire in there. The wind generally blows up through this way, so the opening for the fires on this side, right? And then it's got a little grill that you can move up and down. You'll see it over time. I'm like peeling the cover up now. Little firewood back in here. but somewhere down the line we'll have a, you know, probably in the spring. It'll be nice to come back here and check the stream and listen and relax back here. But for now, we're going to be doing some hunting back in here. Again, you can see some, you know, that's all us up in there, all the way up and all the way over to the next road, all the way down the corner. If you're down that road, you just saw me showing you in the front of the house, you go down to the next road, and there's, you go like 3-4 houses down, and then there's a bend and you can go up that way. Well, our property reaches down there. There's even a field on the other side too. It's about an acre to 2. And that's fairly cleared right now. There's somebody that we're allowing to harvest hay there for their animals. But there's game trails all up in there. So this is where we're planning to dial in there and getting some decent grouping on a couple of them. Took us a little while with some new stuff, but you see that trail right there, right? That's a game trail right there, right? And back here, see this? Now I've walked back here, but that's all game trail right back in here, right? I mean, they come out on the front lawn. When we came here home, when we first showed up, first couple of nights, before they realized we were living in there again, they were sitting right on the front lawn eating 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, munching on our lawn. This whole holler, and there's basically, it comes up to a crest, and there's a crossover around there, up in that mountain there, and all the way up there, goes up about, I think it goes 400 feet from the house level up to the very top of it. So we're sitting at 800 feet sea level at the house level, and this sits up at, I think it tops off at 1200 at the highest point, looking at the topo maps. But they're crossing down in here, going for water. There's water up in there, always water up in that pond. It's just low right now, but it's still got water in it quite a bit. You're allowed to corn feed and bait and stuff around here. So there's a corn feeder up there, a tripod corn feeder, and there's the trails that go, there's the 4-wheeler trails that go up and kind of switch back up into, like, in a sense, right? So you're gradually climbing. And this is our little, I mean, fall, summer, this is all shaded. You know, the trees just come in just enough to shade you out. But, you know, I mean, stuff still, you know, grasses and stuff still grow down in here. I mean, it's quite a bit of pine up in there, but there's a lot of big maples. There's chestnut trees up in here. We have walnut already growing here. I don't know how we're going to get them and all, but we'll see about the harvesting and stuff. But I think some of these here are chestnuts, my roommate was saying. And down here there's some walnuts along the back strip where we're walking in at, and just at the bottom here. You see how it's got a gradual incline, right? If you look at this here, it just kind of swoop, swoop, swoop. So it's doable to get up there. You just gotta, primarily better off having a machine, but at the same time, you could hike it if you need to and want to. If I was in better shape, I'd probably hike it. But I have been up there on a 4-wheeler so far once, so I don't have one yet. So somewhere down the line we'll get that stuff along the way, and I'm hoping to get a side-by-side so we can take Michelle along with me up into, aka Squirt Pat, up into the mountain, and maybe do our rounds each day with our coffees or something, you know what I mean? Be kind of cool. And there's the one there, and then there's this one here. Let me see, there's right up there. You can go up this way, and then you can start to switch back it up that way, and then come back up and around. And then it goes way back in there too until it runs into somebody else's property. There's a big field back there I gotta go find and see where we bottom out into. But all the marks should be there, at least enough marks to be able to tell. Alright, and this one I think is a little bit of a quicker way directly up, but it's a little bit on the steeper side, as I was showing you earlier. But it kind of goes along this rock wall that I was showing you, along that hill there. It just keeps on inclining up to where the pond is. And just kind of walk down in this line. And you'll see there's like a, next to that yellow leaf bush there's a pole. That's the property line. Right there, that pole. See that pole right there? That's where we bottom out to, and then it jumps and goes across the back of this property here. So yeah, I'm still on our property here when we're walking down here, and everything above us. They kind of cut around it and stuff like that, and you know, I don't care that they do what they do as long as they're not building something on it. And they seem like nice people. Just very quiet so far. So I only got to know a few people, and it took some of the closer, or they've been around a long time, they seem to be a little bit quieter. Yet some of the people that are around here that are transplants themselves, they seem to be a little bit more open to us so far. But you know, it just takes time to, you know, get used to people, get used to you, and make sure you're not against what they're not into. But for the most part, all the garden stuff will be over in here. So from like the front of the house back, and we got all from anywhere from somewhere around yay and over to there, right? So it should be plenty. I mean, it's huge compared to what I had and to work with before. And then, you know, primarily the wind all comes this way up the valley through here, right? And then the sun comes up in the east there. And then this is your south down this way over this mountain there, or knoll, I think they call them, or hill. And then it just goes over, and then it sets in the west. So as you see, if you're staring into the sun there, that's because that's just starting to, it's in the evening now, or at least mid-afternoon or something like that. But and I just wanted to give you all a little shot and see what we had going on. Decent little shed. Is still got structurally sound enough to holding itself up, so we're probably going to make use of it for the garden and stuff, at least keep some stuff around. But I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to have to do something with whatever's living in all these holes down in there. You see that? There's more. But wait, there's more. And this ground is rock hard from not getting so much rain. You know, it's very minerally, you know what I mean? Rock, broken down rock and stuff. So it's like clay-like, but you know, it's also, you don't have to add minerals, right? Your minerals are there. You just gotta get some organic material in the soil, and some mulching and stuff to keep the water in the soil. That's pretty much that, man. I don't know, maybe we can do a quick snap and give you an idea on the road here whereabouts the end of this mountain is. So you can see all the way, these houses, they all have their pieces of property here, but they pretty much end just up the hill a little bit. And then goes all the way across, even the power line section. And then come up here to the road. And you'll see, just as you get up here, And then you come into the crest, and there's a road there. That's where our mountain ends, all the way up in there at the end of this strip of houses. And they all, just like I said, have kind of a chunk that might grab up onto the mountain a little bit, but not far. Only up a little bit. So we got pretty views. You look here and see it. Kind of deal, right? There's my neighbor's mountain across from me. And I get to look over and see stuff like this, right? Kind of the same, you just get to check it right from the other side, you know? But there's just one after another, and they all have like kind of a somewhat flat spots on top of them, which is pretty neat, because, you know, you can get up there and still use the top of it, right? And as you see, they come with pretty nice hollers to enjoy as well. Well, I hope that does it for you all. Get a good idea of what we had to work with. And as soon as I can get you all along, bring you along more, and as we do start doing some building this spring and stuff, or maybe if I do something this fall or over the winter, you know, some of, you know, as far as the garden stuff, it'll probably be more in the spring. As far as some, like, you know, remodeling and stuff like that, and non-garden stuff, I might bring you guys along. Just, you know, maybe you can pick up a couple ideas, something I learned about or whatever, you know what I mean, as I'm going along and doing it, and figuring out that you guys can do it yourselves too. You know, I never done, you know, I never redid a complete bathroom before. I got to do 2 of them now. Now, finding out the hard way, one bathroom was a little bit more torn up than I thought. We were going to rely on that one when we were rebuilding it. Rebuilding the main one, and like customizing it for us or to our liking, and so it works for us with our abilities and stuff. It comes to find out that I need to work on the little bathroom first before I can count on it solidly. So it's going to be a little bit of change of plans, but it is what it is, man. You know, we'll survive it. We will survive it. God bless y'all. This is Brandon from Philly 369 Garden. We'll catch you on the flip side next time. God bless you. See you. Take care.